This is for the reflective e-journal for the 764A class, the fall one class. So the questions are, what is your organization's greatest area of need? And at our school site, what we've identified as our greatest area of need is our students who are struggling. So students who are earning 2 or more Fs, students who are earning, more than 1 D or F in class. These could be students who maybe need to go through our cost process or maybe our SST process. However, there are typically no other really underlying issues for these students struggling. It could be that they have maybe attendance issues as like an underlying symptom potentially, but it's mostly our group of students who maybe it's a motivation issue or maybe it's an instructional issue as well, where they just don't understand whatever material their teachers are going over. So that is an area of need that we've identified at our school sites, trying to help our students who are struggling in middle school, so in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. District wide, I would say that an area that we have identified for a greater aspect of need is going to be again, with our struggling students who are from unduplicated populations, some students who are potentially low socioeconomic status, maybe students who are of marginalized groups or minoritized groups of our students. And those are going to be populations of students who we look at through the lens of MTSS, so our multi-tiered strategies of support. And then also we will be looking at positive behavioral support interventions as well through PBIS. So we're going to be looking, and that'll be again through different tiers of students, so site-wide versus a few students, and then also through the lens of just a select, very small group of students, and what level of intervention do they need based off of those groups, and then based off of the different strategies of support that we can instill, and then also based off of our positive behavior intervention and supports. What evidence do you use to determine this great area of need? What we did at the school site to look for students who are struggling or who are earning poor grades in more than one class, we just pulled the data. So we pulled the grading data at the semester, we pulled it at the quarter. There were different steps taken to begin to mitigate this, and that was to look at our flex time interventions, to have teachers be directed to have a day a week where they provide intervention with their classes, so they could provide some more individualized support for their students, and also reteach concepts, help them to go over things that maybe they don't understand based off the grades and based off the assessments that they're earning, and how they're scoring. As a district, the evidence that we used to determine again was based off data. So we pulled data for students of our different significant subgroups. We pulled data of students who might be our multilingual learners, data on students who are coming from low socioeconomic statuses, and then also based off of racial and ethnic groups as well. So that's the data that we use to go over to check in and start implementing these MTSS strategies. We also were able to identify students who have just historically been underserved within Fremont Unified. So those are some different ways that we kind of started at step one, and different data points that we were able to look at in order to implement some of these programs, like with PBIS, or just also different lenses with which to look at the supports that we're already giving our students, like MTSS. A couple things, what steps have you taken to begin to address this? Going back to site-wide, we're looking at teachers and their use of flex time. We're looking at data. We also have on campus a study skills support class. We also, through Flex, we have peer tutoring program that one of our English teachers and another assistant principal has really taken on. We're hoping to extend that or expand it to reach more students, but also to continue going through the cost process, continue going through SSTs to see if students need to be assessed and evaluated, but also really utilizing cost to see if students are needing a coordinated, different supports for students. And that might be within school, it could be outside of school as well, and trying to have these teams really direct what services we can offer our students and how to best help them and serve them. Who might be affected and how? So really, when it comes to site-wide, everyone's affected. So all of the teachers are partaking in this. All of the teachers are required to have flex built into their instructional day, their contractual day. And so all teachers are teaching flex. We are holding teachers accountable by all picking a day with which they're going to use as their intervention day, is what we're calling it, in order to call in their small groups of students who might be, earning poor grades or earning, scoring below the standards that they've met. So all of our teachers are really involved in this and are all really affected by this. We started off with our ILT team, so our department chairs, to really cast the vision with them. And then we relied on them and trusted them to disseminate the information to their departments to get their teachers on board to, follow through and to carry out these different days for targeted instructional intervention. What steps will you take to mitigate any negative or unintentional consequences? So one thing that we have come across is there are some teachers who have been reluctant, to really come up with the intervention strategies, or reluctant to maybe participate in having these students come to their flex to reteach them. One thing that we have done to mitigate this is hold them accountable and to make sure that they're providing what day they're gonna have their targeted intervention flex. Another thing that we're going to be doing too is going into the classrooms during their flex time to just ensure that they are carrying out these strategies and that they know who their struggling students are, and then B, can identify how to help them and how to support them. What we have been trying to do is really roll this out in a way where teachers can be bought in. We tried to have plenty of feedback from the teachers via their department chairs, and vice versa, back and forth, have a conversation, and we really started with the department chairs for that conversation. The other part of the district-wide with PBIS and with MTSS, having both of those, PBIS really more as a program, MTSS more as a lens with which to look at what we're already doing. We're really trying to be as transparent as we can with the staff, train them, have open forum for feedback, really have them be able to vocalize, where they're at in this process. With PBIS, we're just starting the training for positive behavior intervention. And so that's going to be a bit of a slow rollout from now until the end of the school year, really targeting in December and then January, and then having a full rollout in the fall. So hopefully, by going slower with these different programs or with these different organizations of services, we can increase buy-in and we can, really have this go as smoothly as possible. The really big part of the why we're doing this, and to have our struggling students be more successful in school, and to have academic opportunities and to have academic support, will always be at the center, of our discussions with staff, so that we all know, and we can all stack hands on why we're here, and that's to support students in their learning and in their education.